All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
Welcome back to another episode of Reignite Resilience. I am your co-host, Natalie Davis. Excited to be back. And Pam, how are you today?
I am fantastic. Once again, just the two of us.
That's it. We should insert the song there, but we don't want to pay royalties.
Oh my gosh.
Who is that? Christopher Cross? No, who sings that?
I have no idea. And I'm sorry that I
know.
Yeah. Sorry that I sang that. People were probably like, oh no, don't
You're so
quit your day job.
No, you're so brave. One thing that I don't want to do is sing on a pod, but you're great. Yeah, you go right ahead.
I did the thing. And this guest had a great excuse. They had a client that ended up scheduling. And so we graciously just pushed it. But then we're like, well, we got to get together and we got to record. And so we have spent the last 15 minutes trying to figure out what the heck we're going to talk about. And so we have landed on.
We've arrived.
Something that was missing from our lives right now, which is travel.
Exactly. Also, but before we go on, Bill Withers and Grover Washington Jr. Just the two of us, just so I can take that out of my mind, because now I'm like, who sings that? That's not yacht rock. Who is that? Anyway.
Well, and people are going to want to now listen to it because they heard me sing it. They're like, we really should hear how it's supposed to sound.
I think you did well. That was great. On the spot.
Okay.
No rehearsal. Good on you.
Okay. And this is why we're friends. Oh lie to each other.
Exactly. No, you did great. You really did. For not even justifying it with for no practice. That was awesome.
That was just it. I will say that my family, years ago, there were two friends and myself, we had this wise idea to do like a summer camp during the summer, because I had just had Dylan, brand new baby.
Like an adult summer camp?
No, kids summer camps.
Oh, okay.
That would be weird. That would be weird. No,
it exists. It
exists. We all worked at a daycare together, and we're like, well, why don't we take the summer off and see if any of the families would want us to watch their kids for the summer, and we'll come up with all these activities and blah, blah, blah. And I had a big old Yukon XL, had 3 rows of seats, so filled with car seats and everything. And we actually got parents to agree to it, which...
Of course you did.
Hey. Are you kidding? And what's funny is the other 2 gals they're teachers, and they're very well-respected teachers, been teachers for years. So anyway, I would drive my big old Yukon XL with everybody in the car, and I would always sing kids songs. And so one of my friends was like, "You're like the freaking Von Trapp family." And when my grandson is at my house and I'm watching him, I am known to break into some of the old songs from.
I love it.
Nursery rhymes.
Nursery rhyme songs. Yeah. He's probably so entertained. There's so much with this experience, Pam. Like, first of all, I would never. Let's just be. This is how we differ. And I would definitely be the parent that's like, yes, you may take my children. You guys have such an amazing time. It's lovely. I will take the 30-minute, 3-hour break or what have you.
Oh, no, they were there all day. Breakfast, lunch, afternoon snack.
Good on you.
Yeah. We knew everything that was going on in the town. We took them to the library when they had puppet shows and readings. We went to the park. We went to the pool. We did all the things with these kids. It was probably their best summer ever. And I still run into those parents today. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of fun. So
yeah. Summer was the time that gave me the most anxiety. I would have, I would say like summer was an emotional roller coaster. So when school let out in May, I would have this moment of anxiety of wondering what the heck am I going to do with the children for the entire summer, because it seems like forever. I am a big fan of the school system that we have, the education system. So I would have this moment of anxiety of what the heck are we going to do? And then end of summer would roll around, and in August, like I go into this little bit of depression, like, oh wait, we've been together all summer. Now what? Like now what are we?
Now we have to be on a schedule.
Yeah, get back onto a different schedule. Yeah. So good on you for doing it all summer.
It was one and done. It was great. It was great because, Dylan was a baby and I was able to just hang out with him. And we did have, we had a lot of laughs, these three of us. So yeah, the things that you do. So we just went down a complete rabbit hole.
No, I think it applies. It applies. Here we are in the summer. I don't know. Yeah.
We have officially started summer because school is out, which I love when school is out now that my kids are grown, because I don't have to worry about the traffic. Because I live by 3 schools. And so depending on when you leave in the morning, it could be a situation.
Yes. And one school that doesn't have a bus service. So everyone is parent pickup.
Everyone is every single person. And sometimes I feel like they drive 3 cars.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Come on.
That is something I actually completely blocked out of memory. And Elizabeth and I did literally a drive down memory lane when she was in town a few weeks ago. And we stopped at all of her schools and we did pictures of her near her signs because she's going into her senior year of college. And she goes, I as we were pulling up to her middle school, I said, oh my gosh, I remember like pinpointing the spot of where I would start the parent pickup line. I'm like, oh, this is where the parent pickup line would pick up. And this is where I'd get in line. And she goes, because there was not a bus service, like there was no bus or transportation for kids. And I thought, that's right. How did we even get away? It's like this fairy tale life of that we lived at that moment. But anyway.
Well, this is why where I live, all 3 schools are walkable. And my kids they would get so mad at me when it'd be the dead of winter and be freezing outside. And they're like, Mom, take it. I'm like, I'm not taking you. By the time I get in the car and drive literally across the street, it's going to take twice as long. Exactly. And I don't want to go outside and get cold.
Exactly. Your 10-minute walk turns into a 1-hour car ride.
1 hour thing. I have no time for that. Time for that. And so my kids will be the kids that tell their children that, oh, when I was young, I had to walk uphill both ways with no shoes in the middle of the winter.
You were tortured.
Yes. I was such a cruel mom, But I was like, I didn't want to waste the gas and I didn't want to have to get dressed, because here's what happens. You don't get dressed, you wear your pajamas, and then you get a flat tire across.
And you run into somebody that you know.
Everybody.
Yeah, because you have the person that wants to come to the car to chat. Absolutely.
Of course. You know everybody. Not happening.
It builds character. I feel like they turned out fine. It's okay. I wouldn't worry about it.
My favorite was when Dylan was it was junior high, and he decided to do wrestling. And I don't know how many of you know what the wrestling uniforms look like. Mm-hmm. They're not good at all.
Wrestling leotards?
Yeah, yes. And they had to wear those little helmets that kept them from getting cauliflower ear.
Yes.
And so imagine the helmet, the onesie, and Dylan was going through this whole cowboy thing at the time, and he was wearing cowboy boots. He would walk home. Bless his heart. He didn't care.
Oh,
I would see him coming down the street. I'm like, oh, that's my son.
Yeah. His onesie, his boots, and he didn't take off his helmet. Okay.
No. Because why would you take that off? Then you got, helmet head. What a hair.
Exactly. He's like, my hair's messed up. I can't take it off.
My hair's messed up. I'm leaving it. I'm embracing it. I'm owning it. Everyone else changed out of their uniforms to come home. But not Dylan. He just,
distance.
Owned it. He owned it. And I'm just like, oh, that's my son.
Basically, the entire neighborhood became his backyard. And he's like, I'm home. I'm just going to walk. I'm here. Yeah. This is my house.
Absolutely. I knew I wasn't coming to get him. So there was no chance of that. Oh, that's my gosh.
Adorable. Oh, my gosh.
So, okay. We're going to talk about vacations, because this is the time of year that we're doing family vacations. along with everyone else in the world.
Yes.
And so a lot of things come along with vacations, not only the planning for it, packing, and then the actual traveling to get to the vacation, and then the coming home and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff. And you and I have had the pleasure of traveling together many times.
Yes.
And there's always some hilarious adventure. And I think what I love traveling with you is, most people would get upset and like start cursing and get a lot. You and I always make it the funniest, funnest, best
for sure
thing ever. And when our kids get to travel with us, they get to experience that. And it's so much fun to see them watch us like, okay,
we're going to roll with this. This is what we're doing.
Yes. Whatever. And so I would love, let's go down some of the memory lanes of some of our vacations, and maybe we can give people some, I don't know, strategies or tips for when they travel, because it is stressful. It's stressful to get to the airport when you have kids that you're traveling with and other people that you're trying to navigate, and how you show up and react to things that happen is going to really predict the whole outcome of the trip.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I travel for work quite a bit. And actually, I was just at the airport today. I flew back from California to Colorado just moments ago. And it's interesting because the airport is made up of a whole different set of avatars and personalities right now, because families are traveling and grandparents are traveling to see the grandkids. I was sitting next to a lady that is heading to Steamboat Springs, and there's not a Trader Joe's there. And so her granddaughter sent her very strict instructions of what chips to pick up from Trader Joe's. And so we had to save room in our row to make sure that the chips had a space, because she was, it's a whole different, compared to like the rest of the year, there's myself and then other people that travel for business, right? Like that's the majority of
the people. Don't talk. When you're traveling for business, you got AirPods in, you're doing work, you're not talking to anybody.
No.
Like people that aren't normally doing it. And
yes,
so
exactly. The anxiety level is out the roof. I will have to say, like, I'm going to say this and then come back to your question in terms of like how I prep and how I found it helpful. Yeah. And it's something that I still do. But one thing, like coming into the airport, and I saw this little boy just standing on the conveyor belt by himself. He was probably 6. What? And he's just okay. And so here I come, with my luggage, and I'm walking by and I'm slowing down as I walk closer to him, and I'm looking around and I'm like, where are your people? Who's watching you right now? Who's watching you right now? That leads into like one of the stressors of traveling with kids. It's like just wrangling all of the people involved. Like, is everyone with us? And that's at any age, not just 6. One thing that I found really helpful, my parents did not do this with me when I traveled, because I really didn't have input or insight into our travel and what that looked like. But it was something that was important to our kids when we were growing up. And that was setting expectations for the trip before we actually started the trip. And so we would always have like that expectations conversation. Like, what do you want to do? What is the feeling that you want to have after this trip is over? What are some things that you want to see? And so that was always helpful, because going into the trip, like if one person wants to have a jam-packed schedule and the other person wants to sit by the pool and not do anything all day, then you can, before you're in the emotion of it all, because, there's frustration or angst or what have you, you can figure out, okay, well, here's the agenda to do everything, or you do everything and we're going to sit by the pool and then we'll come together and at least we'll have lunch or dinner or whatever it is, so that everybody understands and has an enjoyable experience, right? Like I think that's the biggest piece, is that people get so frustrated. They go through all of the planning, like you said, the planning, the traveling, the getting there, and you can't get anywhere quickly anymore. And so you go through all of that. You go through the multiple days of the actual trip itself, and then you get home and you're like, I think I need a vacation from the vacation.
Yeah. We've all felt that. We've all felt that.
We felt it. Yeah.
So I love that. And I forgot that you guys did that, because when I was newly divorced, my daughter and I went on a trip with you guys to Spain. And that was one thing you guys did. You're like, what are your expectations? And it was so funny to see my daughter's reaction to that trip versus our family trips, because that was not part of our family trips. There was one person that made all the decisions. This is what we're doing and blah, blah, blah. And so it was never fun. And this was so fun. She's like, I wish all vacations were like this.
Yes,
and I'm like,
exactly.
yeah, it would make it so much more fun, because what I like to do is different from what you like to do. And if everybody knows that, hey, I really want to do this, who wants to do this with me? And I really want to do this. That way, everyone, even the kids, have a say in what's going to happen on the vacation, 100%. That you're going to alleviate so many tantrums and I mean the adult tantrums, all of those things.
Yes. Do we want to talk about adult tantrums? Because I'm a little embarrassed by adults sometimes.
Oh,
I mean, like the full blown adult meltdowns in the middle of the airport.
Especially when traveling and you're just like, wow, I'm sure that attendant behind the desk has no control over the weather and the plane not being able to take off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I am not going to get on that soapbox.
No,
and this is the thing. There are certain things that are uncontrollables when you travel, right? Absolutely. Delays. I shared with Pam before we hopped on to record. My flight was delayed multiple times this morning. I was supposed to be in Denver 3 hours ago, and it was delayed by 3 hours, which throws everything off in my world. And I could choose to get upset about it, frantically try to book something else. But, I've just learned to settle in, and I'm like, okay, it is what it is. And I will get there as long as I get there safely. That's my number one priority, right? Like just being safe and getting there. Yeah. But I've seen people lose it over things that are out of their control and out of everyone else's control. And the tantrum helps no one except for those that are looking for entertainment value.
If you want everyone else to be entertained by your time, then you go right ahead. Do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm usually a headphone person, so if you see me slowly take my headphone out,
I have the noise canceling. So if you just click it, then you can hear everything clear as day. Okay. So I don't even have to take them out. I can just listen to your little tantrum and be like,
hear this.
That's fun. That's fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we always have those. And actually I think about when we were in London at the airport and we had to go through the customs line to get on a bus to get to the other airport for our next flight. Yes. And it was a long customs line. So what did we do? We took out our phones and we played Heads Up.
Heads Up. We played Heads Up in line.
The looks, and we were laughing and having fun. The glares that we were getting from the people in the custom lines because they're all cranky. Like, why is it going so slow? And we were having a blast.
Yes.
Absolute blast. So it's what you choose to make of the situation.
Yes.
And it can flip, because I remember I was traveling in the fall home from France, and when I booked our flights, there wasn't a huge layover between our flight that landed in Frankfurt and then was heading to Denver. And we had to go through customs again. And when I say the line was ginormous, it was so big that it was outside of how you have the line where you have to go through. It was like hundreds of people.
Just a swarm.
Trying to filter into this. And of course, our flight was 5 minutes from boarding. There were 2 custom agents.
Yes.
And everyone is the same spot. So I asked somebody and I was like, yeah, our flight is boarding in 10 minutes. And she goes, well, you can just ask people if you can cut ahead.
Yes.
And so when I started, and I was getting anxious because I was like, I need to get home. And so I start asking people and they're like, no, our flight leaves in 10 minutes. And I was like, you know what? We're all in the same boat. And so then I started just making conversations with this couple that was in front of us as we kind of laughed at the people that were coming up trying to cut in, and then people screaming at them, go to the back of the line. We're all in the same boat.
Yes.
It was like watching a circus.
Yes.
It was quite amusing. But then I was like, we were talking and laughing and having fun, and we got through it, and we got to our plane, and it was just fine.
And it was completely fine. It was fine. As you talked about the queue, it reminded me of the trip that you and I took to Oregon last year.
Oh,
that just gave me anxiety again.
Not for you, as you're texting me, I'm already on the plane. I'm like, thanks. I'm still in line.
I did not. I didn't leave her this time. Like
she was on the flight. So technically the plane didn't leave, but if it had, she would have left me.
I would have left. So here's the thing. If you travel with me, I have the expectation that you will have clear and pre-checked. That's just
now I have global, which is clear, pre-checked. It's all the things. I'm just shy of being the pilot.
Yes. Well, Pam did not on this one trip that we had, and this was a business trip that we had taken to Oregon, and the regular line for TSA was queued up. I mean, it was snaked back and forth. And so I went through pre-check. Was it clear and pre-check? So whatever that line was.
You just walked right past, waved at me, got on the
and I said, I'll wait at the gate because we had cut it close because of traffic. No, I want you to hear and feel the level of anxiety that I had because here I'm thinking, I can't leave her. And so my boarding group, I did. My boarding group was called and I waited and I was texting Pam and she wasn't responding.
Even more stressed out, people. Exactly. Just so everyone knows, that did not call me in any way at all.
No, and I'm like, they're starting to board. Okay, group 1 is going. Okay, group 2 is going. How far are you? Exactly. And so she stopped responding, and then I'm having anxiety because I'm like, she's been detained. They're searching her, and now I'm not going to be able to wait for. I create this whole narrative in my mind, and so I'm having anxiety. I didn't get on until like the last 5 or 6 people that we were just lingering.
Yeah.
And so I get on and I'm just like, every person that gets on the plane after me, my head like pops out in the aisle and I'm like, is she coming? Is she coming? Still no text message or call. I called you as well. And Pam was like, decline. I don't want to hear that.
I didn't even have time to get the phone out to even answer. I literally
put your shoes on.
I didn't put my shoes on. You had to take your shoes off to go through the security.
Yes.
I didn't have time to put them back on. I ran through the airport and on one of those little magic carpets that is like these metal teeth. I ran through that on my bare feet. Thank God the gate was like one of the first ones.
It was very close.
I literally got on the plane and I was full of sweat. My feet, bottom of my feet. It was horrible. It was one of those things. And it was so funny because as I was in the line, I was literally just doing like these deep breaths because I'm like, it's out of my control. Yeah. There isn't a thing I can do. And the lady in front of me asked me, she goes, do you have a flight that I was like, yeah, they're already boarded. And she goes, well, why don't you cut in front? Why didn't you just ask everybody? I'm like, I don't want to be that person that's like, excuse me. Yes. And I was like, I'm just going to trust that it's going to work out. Yeah. And she goes, well, you're going in front of me. And so she let me go in front of her. And then I ran to the airport.
And she made it. And the moral of the story is that she made it. And get clear and pre-check. And as soon
as we got home, I now have global, which is like clear, pre-check, all the things. It gives
you everything. Yes.
It gives you everything. And
yes, absolutely. That's as we talk about the things that are within our control. Just plan those things that you like. For me, it gives me anxiety to get there and the security line is so long or out the door. Yeah. And there are some airports in this country and international that there's no way around it. And I think I went down that path because I stood in line at an airport and it was 3 hours to get through.
We've had a couple of times coming back through the Denver airport from Mexico where we were in line for hours. And it's so funny because when I came back from France, I was traveling with somebody and they do not have global. And I was
see, do you see the feeling that
just so you know, I'll see you at the luggage. I was not going to wait. After the ordeal in Frankfurt, there was no way I was going to wait in a line in Denver at customs.
Yes.
So I was like, bye.
We're done. We're done with this.
Because you literally just walk and I don't know, somehow they magically see your face and they're like, welcome home, Mrs. Cass.
Yes.
It's good to be home.
I know you kind of look back and wave. You're like, I'll get the bag. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference. And it's one of those things. I look at it as a way to control the stress, right? So for me, it's like, I'm going to remove this stressor and it is worth the investment in that service, so that I don't have to have that level of stress and tension or the unknown variable. I think that's the biggest piece. It's like the unknown.
And that's why, and I'm definitely a big proponent in always being at the airport, like way early. I would rather.
I am not.
And you are not. And I'm the person that's like, I want to be there an hour or two early. I would rather just sit and wait. So anyway, another tip.
I do not. I would rather walk in and walk directly to my seat without pausing.
Yeah. That stresses me out because anything goes wrong.
I know.
You got not an inch to square.
I've had this with coworkers that have traveled with me as well. Tyrone for one of our trips that we had taken, and he didn't send a text or anything because again, he's like, she's an adult, she'll get there. Yeah. And the plane is literally boarding, and I just walked straight into the line and scanned my ticket. And he looked at me. He goes, "I was wondering if you were going to make the flight or not." I was like, "Of course I'm going to be here. I just want to hang out." Of course. Let me knock on wood with all of that. Anyway,
please knock on wood so that we know that you're actually going to make it.
Yes.
The other thing that for me when I travel is having water. And you introduced me to these water bottles, these UV bright water bottles.
Yes.
And most of the airports anymore have the ability to fill up your water bottles. I was really pleasantly surprised in Denver when I filled it up and I pressed the button. So it filters your water. When I press the button, it didn't need to do it. The water in Denver in those water fountains they're very good quality water.
Nice.
So having water with me, and I also travel with liquid IV, which is kind of like a Gatorade because if you don't drink enough water when you travel, your feet get swollen, you get headaches, and that will dictate how you feel and how you react to things as well if you're not feeling good. Yes, and so that's a big one is having water with you. And I just don't love carrying I don't like the plastic water bottles. So if you can have one that you can take with you.
That's refillable. Yeah. I mean, I think it's funny that you went to that nourishment side because that was the other thing that I was thinking about is that if you travel with Pam and I, we are going to have snacks. We will have snacks.
Oh my gosh. That just made me think. So when we've traveled to Mexico, we take the kid. I mean, if you saw the crap that's in our bags, like cannot believe we've made it through customs into Mexico, like pancake mix, syrup, peanut butter, coffee,
crackers.
Yes. I mean, and it's hilarious because it's like I'll have 2 full suitcases and one is full of food. And here's the thing, guys: when you're traveling with teenagers, they eat a lot
all the time.
All the time.
So it's funny because I think our first time to Mexico, you had packed all the snacks that you could ever imagine.
Yes, and licorice.
Dylan was like, "No, but I'm hungry," but he was hungry for anything other than the snacks that you had packed.
Exactly. And I was like, no, unless you're buying it, no.
Exactly. No, we do. And that's all of like the hearty stuff. That doesn't like we have the protein bars.
Protein bars, granola bars,
gummy bears, Twizzlers, Sweeties, we have them all.
everything. Because that's what you do. Because as a mom, and I think we talked about this on our podcast before. You and I have traveled together where we had no food with us, and we had to eat a dusty almond out of the bottom of my purse.
Mm-hmm. And she's not exaggerating.
It was we brushed it off.
We were traveling and sitting in a meeting and Pam and I sat down. I mean, our schedule was stacked. Yeah. And we sat down and we looked at each other and we're like, I'm so hungry. And she goes, I think I've got a protein bar in here somewhere and some nuts. And she starts digging down into her Mary Poppins bag and pulls out
a Lara bar, which was completely flattened like a piece of paper.
Correct. Like a rolling pin had been taken to it.
Yes.
It was so
I don't know how old it was. But it was something. And a couple of almonds
and she's not exaggerating. They were dusty almonds and
they were loose. Loose in the bottom of her purse. I don't know how the hell they got into my bottom of my purse, but they were loose.
But from that is why we pack snacks, because we learned. And I not everyone packs snacks like this, Pam. So because I'll tell you, like I have snacks typically I'll have snacks in my hotel room, wherever I'm traveling, because getting back, and it's the protein bars. I have the liquid IV, or Gatorade has the portable Gatorade sticks now. Sometimes I'll do Gatorade. But I have all of those, and I've talked to other people and they're like, oh, why do you carry that? And I'm like, I used to say because I have kids, and then I'm like, no, it's just for me. It is just for me. It's just for me.
I've made protein balls before and packed those and brought them. And especially you're at a conference and it's not great food that you're eating, and you're out of your routine. And it's like, if I can have a cup of coffee in the hotel room and grab a protein ball, then I'm going to be golden, and a liquid IV before the end of the day. So I'm just smart, doing smart things like that. And there's so many great healthy snacks that you can get now, so that you're not eating that. You don't have hangry kids or hangry significant others, or you're not hangry. Because when I'm hangry, I'm not attractive.
I get hangry, and I know that about myself, and that is exactly why I have the snacks, because I don't want to get into that place and that energetic space, because it impacts the decisions that you make. It impacts how you're going to show up, and it definitely impacts how you're communicating and having conversour with people. Or lack thereov. How much side eye is given hinges on my blood sugar level.
Ask our kids. Ask our children.
Yes.
Angry or tired. Like, those are the two that you're just like, stay out of mom's way.
Well, I'm glad.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.